Hey guys, we are factoring the trinomial 3x squared plus 10x minus 8, and you've chosen the method of box method. Okay, so we are going to start by doing a diamond problem because no matter which method you choose, the first thing is the diamond problem because it'll give us those two numbers that are important for all three methods. So here, I'm creating a little diamond problem. Remember that AC goes on top and B goes on bottom. And the way that we find those is if you've got this in standard form, A is the one with the x squared, B is the one with the x, and C is the one without a variable. Okay, so we multiply A and C to get this top number. 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. Okay, and here B is 10. Okay, positive 10. So now we need to find these side numbers. Well, the way I like to do it is to create a little list of all the factors of negative 24 because they have to multiply to this top number and then see which ones of those will add to positive 10 because they're supposed to add to the bottom number. Okay, so the way I like to list factors is just start with 1 in the number and then proceed up until you get a repeat. So 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6, 5 times nothing because you can't go in, and then you'd get to 6, which is a repeat. So you're done. Great. Now, if you use my flow chart, which I've emailed out, or you can go look at the slide for tomorrow, this is a negative number. So that means the product is negative. Only one factor will be negative, so they multiply to a negative. But they add to a positive, or the sum is positive, which means the bigger number should be positive and the smaller number should be negative. That way they add to a positive. So I'm going to take the smaller factor in each of these and make it negative. And then you add to see which one gets you 10. So here we do negative 1 plus 24, that's 23. Here we do negative 12, or negative 2 plus 12, that's 10. Oh wait, I already did it. That was fast. Okay, so ended up being pretty soon on the list. So we can put these numbers here, negative 2 and 12. You can put those numbers in either order and it doesn't matter. Okay, great. So now, this is like undoing the box method that we used for multiplication. So if you remember when we taught you to multiply polynomials together, one of those methods is called the box method. This is essentially undoing that. So what you did is you ended up finding the numbers that go in the box and then adding them together. What we're doing is putting these back in the box and splitting apart what we combined. So that means we're going to bring the first term, the 3x squared, goes here. The last term goes there. Okay. And then what we've done is we found two things that we can split this apart to be. And you add them, you'll get back to 10x, but we're going to split it. So it doesn't matter where you put them. I'm going to put the negative 2, and then you add an x to it. So I brought the negative 2, and then 12, and you again give it an x. And you know, if we did the diagonal thing and added them back up, these would go right back to 10x. So again, we're slowly undoing the process. Now what we do is we pull out the greatest common factor of each row and then each column. Okay, so let's start with the rows. So if we look here, these are both divisible by 3. This one's going to be 3 times 1. This one's going to be 3 times 4. Since 3 is a prime number, I know that there's not a number bigger than 3, so that's good. So that means I'm going to take the 3, bring them on out. Okay, I don't need to worry about what those are. I'm just worried about that. So don't worry about the 1 and the 4 now. And then here we've got two sets, x times x and x. So that means I can bring 1x out and bring it out here. Again, I don't care what those are. All I'm caring about is the GCF, which is 3x. Great. Now I'm going to do the same for the denominator. Now, because this is a negative number, I'm going to pull out a negative. Okay, there's a negative and a negative. Take that out. Okay, and again, this is prime. That's not an x, I'm sorry. Little caret thing. This is a 2 times 1, and then this will be 2 times 4. Okay, again, that's a prime number, so there's nothing bigger than 2 that goes into that. So I can take out a 2. So negative 2 comes out here. Okay, and then this has an x, but that doesn't, so that's it, I'm done. I can't take out x's because they both have to have x's to do that. There you go. Now we'll do a different color, and let's look at the columns. So let me use maybe a sticky note to kind of cover that up so we don't look at that one. Now we're looking at this one. So, oops, we see that there's a 3 and a 2. Again, I can split this to be 3 and 1 and 2 and 1, but then I can just pull out a 1, which is not really, there's not really a point unless there's nothing else. So I can put the 1 up here, but it might not end up being important. And then here again, I have an x and an x, and here I have 1x. So I can take out at most 1x. Okay, you could just write x, you can write 1x. Then we do the other side. So 12, let's see what some of the factors of 12 are. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4, and then I already have 4, so I'm done. Over here, 8, 1 times 8, 2 times 4, and then 3 doesn't go into it, and then we're back to 4. So we want to find the highest matching number on this list. That's a 4. It comes out. Now, because one's a negative and one's not a negative, you do want to make sure you double check that all the negative signs pass out. Over here, it was easy. Both of these were negative. You can take out a negative. Here, I'm not sure. So what I'm going to do after I'm done is check to make sure that they multiply to what's in the box. So I check to see, can I pull out an X? This has an X, this doesn't, so you can't do that. So now, the way we make sure that these numbers are all correct is make sure that they multiply back to what was here. So we double check, is 3x times 1x 3x squared? 3 times 1 is 3, x times x is x squared. Good. So I'm going to put a little check to make sure I check. Then we do this number down here. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2, and then bring down the x. Good. Here, 3x times 4. 3 times 4 is 12, and then just bring the x. Good. And lastly, 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Good. If they didn't make those, we'd have to adjust and see if we added a negative here, if that made it work. But we don't, so it's good. So now what we do is we take these and we multiply them. Just like how when you originally start with multiplication, you place them on the top and the side of the box. So we can write the side first. It doesn't really matter. It's 3x and then minus 2. And then here, you can write 1x. I'm just going to write x. And then that's a positive 4, so plus 4. And again, if you by chance switch to the negative 2x and the 12x, then you might have it like this with the plus 4x first and the 3x minus 2 second. And there you have it. All right, if you got any questions, of course, let me know. Good luck.